The joke that cost humanity trillions. The black titanium card slid across the glass table. Commander Elena Vasquez laughed as she flicked it with her fingers. "Go ahead, Crix," she said. "Buy yourself something nice." Around her, the human officers in the orbital station lounge cheered. Glasses clinked. Music played. The entire room smelled of celebration and expensive Terran whiskey. 3 years of negotiations had finally ended. Humanity had won. 17 asteroid clusters filled with rare quantum-stable metals now belonged to them. The Hellion Corridor was the most valuable mining zone in this region of space. And Elena Vasquez was the one who secured it. Across the table, the alien negotiator Crix caught the card carefully with 3 of his 4 hands. His skin glowed faintly in shifting colors beneath the lounge lights. Amber. Confusion. Elena thought it looked funny. She didn't know the color meant something very serious among his people. "What does this gesture mean, Commander Vasquez?" Crix asked. His voice came through the translator implant as calm mechanical English. Elena raised her drink. "It means I'm feeling generous." The humans laughed again. "You've been a good sport through all the negotiations," Elena continued. 3 years of paperwork deserves a reward." She leaned back in her chair confidently. "Use the card. 50,000 credit limit. Corporate account." Her first officer, David Chen, gently touched her arm. "Commander, maybe." "Oh, relax, David," she said, waving him off. "It's symbolic." Crix looked down at the card again. His glowing skin slowly shifted colors. Deep blue. "Gratitude. Among my people," Crix said slowly, "such trust is sacred." Elena barely listened. She was already turning to accept congratulations from the other delegates. She was imagining her promotion. She was imagining history books mentioning her name. If she had looked back, she might have noticed the other colors flashing across Crix's skin. Amber. Blue. And finally, a deep, pulsing violet. But she never looked back. 12 hours later, Elena woke to her communication device screaming. Her head pounded. The celebration last night had lasted until nearly dawn. She grabbed the device. "What?" she groaned. David Chen's face appeared on the screen. He looked pale. Very pale. "Commander," he said quietly, "we have a problem." Elena rubbed her eyes. "What kind of problem?" David hesitated. Crix used the card. Elena sighed. "So, I told him to." David swallowed. "He bought the Hellion Corridor." Elena froze. "What?" "He filed a legal amendment to the trade contract." Her stomach dropped. "That's impossible." David shook his head slowly. "The card you gave him contains your biometric authorization chip." Elena felt the blood drain from her face. It was true. The card wasn't just a credit card. It was also the device she used to sign official consortium documents. During the ratification window, David continued quietly, "Any authorized representative can modify the contract." Elena whispered, "Don't say it." David finished the sentence anyway. "He used your authorization token to sell the entire mining corridor." "How much?" she asked. David's voice felt like a knife. 50,000 credits. Elena stared at him. The mining rights were worth 47 trillion credits. And she had sold them. As a joke. Emergency hearing. The Galactic Trade Consortium Hall was enormous. Delegates from 40 different alien species filled the chamber. At the center stood Elena Vasquez. Alone. The High Arbiter leaned forward. "You gave a foreign diplomat your authorization credentials, as a joke." Elena's voice trembled. "Yes." Murmurs spread across the chamber. Admiral Torres stood behind her with a face like stone. "Commander Vasquez," the Arbiter said slowly, "you negotiated 17 major treaties." "Yes." "You represented humanity here for 8 years." "Yes." "And you expect us to believe this was an accident?" The accusation hung in the air. They thought she was a traitor. Elena forced herself to stand straight. "It was arrogance," she said quietly. "Not betrayal." The arbiter's mandibles clicked. Convenient. Elena closed her eyes. I celebrated too early. I thought I had won something great for humanity. You handed the enemy the keys to the vault. Yes, Elena whispered. And now? She looked up. Now I understand I never asked the most important question. The arbiter tilted his head. And that question is? Elena's voice was almost a whisper. What those asteroids meant to the Valanthi. The truth. After the hearing, David found her alone. You should know something, he said. The Valanthi weren't always part of the consortium. Elena looked up. They used to belong to the Harath Empire. Slaves. David nodded. The Hellion Corridor was their home system. Elena's stomach twisted. The asteroids we planned to mine. David continued quietly. Contain their ancient burial grounds. Silence filled the room. We bought their ancestors' graves, Elena whispered. For metal. David didn't answer. He didn't need to. The call. Crix finally answered her transmission. His hologram flickered in front of her. His skin glowed pale grey. Neutral. You planned this, Elena said. No, Crix replied. A brief flash of amber crossed his skin. When you first arrived, I planned to kill you. Elena froze. You what? My people's bones power your ships, he said quietly. My grandmother's resting place was melted into your fleet. Silence. I studied your security systems for 2 years, Crix continued. I planned to destroy your delegation. What changed? Crix looked at her. You were kind to me. Elena blinked. You learned my name, he said. You asked about my family. You treated me like a person. His skin turned violet. In my culture we have a word. Velith. What does it mean? The one who sees your soul. Elena's chest tightened. And the card? She asked. Crix's voice hardened. In Valanthi culture, giving someone your authority token means absolute trust. He paused. You threw it at me like a joke. Elena felt something inside her break. I thought you respected me. But you never truly saw me. The transmission began to fade. Tell me how to fix this, Elena said desperately. Crix shook his head. You cannot. The signal died. And Elena knew she had destroyed more than a trade deal. She had destroyed trust. The price of understanding. The second day of hearings was worse. Economic experts listed the damage. Lost resources. Lost territory. Lost influence. Humanity's expansion plans collapsed overnight. But Elena didn't defend herself anymore. When they called her to speak, she simply said, what I did was unforgivable. The chamber became silent. Not because I lost a trade deal. She looked at the delegates. Because I worked beside someone whose people we hurt, and I never asked about their pain. Even the arbiter leaned forward now. I treated sacred trust like a joke, Elena continued. If there is any way to return those sacred sites to the Valanthi, humanity should do it. She sat down. No excuses. No defense. Just truth. The meeting. The next day, David entered her waiting room. They want to meet, he said. Who? Crix. Elena blinked. Why? He didn't say. The meeting took place on an abandoned neutral station. Crix waited beside a window looking out at the stars. You spoke for my people, he said. I spoke the truth. Crix studied her. Truth is rare among humans. Elena stepped beside him. I didn't understand what I was doing, she said quietly. You didn't try to understand. Yes, she admitted. Crix remained silent for a long time. Finally he said, among my people, there is a ritual for broken trust. Elena turned. What ritual? The one who caused the harm must live among those they wronged. For how long? 1 full cycle. A year. Yes. Elena swallowed. You want me to live with your people. I want you to understand us. 1 year later. The mining machines were gone. In their place stood shrines. 300 Valanthi gathered at sunrise on the sacred asteroid. Elena stood among them. She wore their ceremonial robes. She had spent an entire year helping rebuild the holy sites, carrying stones, learning prayers, listening to stories of the dead. For the first time in her life, she understood what the Hellion Corridor truly meant. Not money, not minerals. Home. Crix stood at the center of the ceremony. His skin glowed deep blue. Mourning. But also something else. Hope. After the ceremony, Elena stood alone near the edge of the asteroid. "You are thinking of leaving," Crix said behind her. "My year is almost finished." "Yes. I've learned something," Elena said quietly. "What is that?" "That I knew nothing." Crix's skin flickered gold. "Amusement. That is wisdom," he said. Elena looked at him. "Will you ever forgive me?" Crix considered the question carefully. Finally he said, "I will not say I forgive you." Elena nodded slowly. "But," he continued, "you are no longer the person who hurt me." She looked up. "The woman who stands here now." He hesitated. "Is someone I would choose to know." Elena felt tears in her eyes. Crix extended one hand. A human handshake. "You once asked how to make things right," he said. "Yes. This is the answer." He gestured toward the rebuilt shrines. Not one big apology. Not one heroic moment. Just choosing to be better, every day. Elena took his hand. "What happens next?" she asked. Crix looked out at the stars. "I do not know." His skin shifted to soft violet. "But I would like to discover it together." Behind them, the Valanthi prayers continued. Above them, the stars burned quietly. And on an asteroid once sold for scrap, two former enemies stood side by side. Not forgiven. Not redeemed. Just trying to be better. And for now, that was enough.